Dear students, today we discuss about Dracunculus medinensis life cycle. So this is also called guinea worm. Dracunculus medinensis is also called guinea worm. First of all, we discuss about systemic position. Phylum Nematohelminthes. It is also called Aschelhelminthes, and class Nematoda and subclass Phasmidia, order Dracunculidia, genus Dracunculus, and species medinensis. This is about systemic position of Dracunculus medinensis. So one of the largest known nematode. So Dracunculus medinensis is the largest nematode. Nearly its length is up to 60 centimeters, and causes Dracunculidia, Dracunculosis, commonly called Guinea worm. Commonly called Guinea worm. Generally, it has a great history, and about this parasite, nearly 1530 BC. So generally, this disease may occur in human beings written in Bible. So in Bible describes about Dracunculus medinensis, thought to be transitional parasite between digestive tract and filarial parasite of tissues. Generally, it is a transitional parasite. Generally, Tinea solium, Fasciola hepatica, Cystosoma hematobium, which lives in intestine, and Eukarya bancrofti, which lives in lymph nodes. And here, this is Dracunculus medinensis, transitional parasite, which lives in especially subcutaneous tissues. Subcutaneous tissues. Next, the structure of this nematode, especially Dracunculus medinensis. The female is the largest nematode. Nearly the female length is up to 60 centimeters. And what about male is 30 millimeter. The male is very small inside. The female is largest inside. Okay. Generally, the one third of the anterior end, generally the female genital pore is open. Female genital pore is open, and generally the male has copulatory organs, and generally male tail is spirally coiled. Okay. So next one, this is about the male and female shows remarkable sexual dimorphism by in size only. Next one, life history. Next one, distribution. The poor communities in Africa with unsafe drinking water, especially this parasite present in poor African countries and poor South American countries and some Asian countries, mostly found in sub-Sahara Africa. CDC reports that 2003 only 32,193 cases were reported in Sudan, and WHO, World Health Organization, certified 168 countries free from transmission, including Pakistan, India, Senegal, and Yemen. In India, there is no Dracunculus medinensis. Since 1995, only two cases reported in America. So this is about distribution, especially this parasite distributed only in uh, African countries. African countries. Next one, life cycle. This is a diagenetic parasite. Its life cycle takes place in two hosts. The man is the primary host, and uh, copepod is the secondary host. Copepod, especially Cyclops. Cyclops is the secondary host. Generally, the parasite which lives in subcutaneous tissues, the parasites can migrate throughout the body. Sometimes the parasites emerge out on the head skin only. So we can sometimes we can see in the human beings, the parasite come out of the head from forehead, above the forehead. Okay. So now generally the adult parasites, matured parasites, migrates to the limbs, especially legs, near to the feet. So the female come out of the feet, and by the female releasing some chemicals. So by these chemicals one blister is formed. From that blister the female emerge out. Whenever the human beings are placed their legs into water bodies, the female release the larva 1. Female release the larva 1. Okay, the larva released into water from the emerging female worm. So these larva freely moving, and these larva consumed by the cyclops, especially the copepod species are consumed by these larva. L1 larva is consumed by a copepod, especially cyclops, and this larva undergoes two molds. Okay, uh, in copepod and became L3 larva. So in copepod, especially in cyclops, the L1 larva undergoes two molds. That means the Dracunculus medinensis parasite size is increased by molting, and the L1 L3 larva is produced. So this L3 larva is ready to contaminate to the human beings. At present time, generally the larva comes out of the from intestine to coelom of the these copepod, and enters into the water body through these cyclops. And next, whenever these cyclops are L3 larva present in the water and L3 larva present in the copepod, so generally the human drinks unfiltered water containing copepod with L3 larva. So generally in poor countries there is no safe drinking water. That is the reason why the human beings are drinks unsafe drinking water. It is contaminated with the L3 larva. Now the larva enters into the human digestive system. So now after entering into the human digestive system by HCl activity in gut, in stomach, so the copepod were died. After dying of copepods or cyclops, the larvae released into stomach and intestinal wall, the mature and reproduce. So in the larva released into the intestinal wall, or stomach wall, or intestinal wall. So these parasites ready to mature and reproduce, and finally, so the male female reproduce. The mature male and female undergoes reproduction, and they can form a fertilized eggs. The fertilized female worm migrate to the surface skin, causes to a blister. So generally blister is blister. It's a special structure which is present on the leg. From the blister, so these parasite can release some chemicals. So by these chemicals blister is formed. So whenever this blister are infected persons entering into the water, from the blister the female emerge out and discharge the L1 larva. So this is about a life cycle of Dracunculus medinensis, especially the parasites which lives in the subcutaneous of skin in human being. So the mature parasites migrates throughout the body at particular time. So especially the itching and hypersensitivity activities takes place in the skin. And one more thing here, the movement of the parasite in human being. Okay, the adult male and female undergoes reproduction, and they may be present in subcutaneous tissues. So whenever the parasite is present, the ulceration of the skin takes place. So now the liberation of embryo into water. So now what is ulceration? Formation of blister. From the blister the female emerge out and release the larvae. So these larvae ingested by the cyclops, and the larva enter into the gut of cyclops, and again the larva enter into the coelomic cavity of cyclops, and again the infectious stages of larva, so which is present in the cyclops ingested by the man, and larva present inside the stomach, and larva enters into the retroperitoneal tissues, and adult. So in retroperitoneal tissues, the adult will form out. The adult will form out. So this is about the diagramical movement of the Dracunculus medinensis. Dracunculus medinensis. So some symptoms. Generally, whenever the parasite is present in the human being, some symptoms can identify it. And symptoms occurs approximately 1 year after infection. Whenever the parasites are entering into the human beings, the symptoms appear after 1 year. So from entering into the appearance of symptoms, maybe it may takes 1 year. In this 1 year, the parasite will develop, or parasite grown in size. A few days to a few hours before the worm emerges, a person may experience the following: fever, swelling, pain in area where the parasite is present, rash with severe itching, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, dizziness. So here, what is fever? Fever is the phenomena. It is a secondary reaction of immune system to know the parasites presence in the human being. So especially to increase the body temperature. So our body tells to our mind. And swelling in pair area where the parasite is present, or WBC release the antibodies IgE. So this IgE causes to the hypersensitivity or antigen antibody reactions. Rash with severe itching where the parasite is present, or WBC release the more amount of IgE antibodies that leads to rashes. Here the swelling is takes place, rashes are takes place, itching is takes place, nausea and vomiting sensation, diarrhea, nearly the more amount of water come out of the through mouth or anus, dizziness. So such type of dizziness also present. Lesions may lead to secondary bacterial infections where the blister is present. Here the secondary infection caused by especially bacteria. So this also increased pain and some joint locking problem. Sometimes the parasite whenever it moves to the joints, some joint like thing also is takes place. So now each time the worm emerges, a person may unable to work or resume daily activities for up to 3 months. So whenever the parasite infected person the suffering from this disease, he may not able to perform his day-to-day activities. So up to 3 months. If it is harvesting time, generally these are the poor countries. The family elder person may not perform such activities, that leads to financial crisis or financial problems for the family. So worm that does not emerge may from cysts. Okay, so generally there is no formation of the in the cysts, there is no come out of the um, parasites. So here we can observe clearly blister, a blister we can observe, and blister was ruptured in the second picture. And next one is symptoms. So here generally you can see the parasite which is below to the thigh. So this is a knee area. And drugs, generally ambilhar, it's a drug to control our parasitic stages. Ambilhar is a drug to control all parasitic stages of the Dracunculus medinensis. Next one is traditional methods: remove the worm from body. So here the one traditional method is there. And whenever the blister is formed, from the blister the parasite emerge out. So so generally we the parasite tied with matchsticks or some stick, gradually we can remove the parasite from the blister. After few days, nearly 20 to 30 days, you can simply remove the parasite from the body. So this is a traditional method. Next one is prevention. So the prevention is better than cure, especially these are the poor countries. The main way to prevent the infection is through education. Through education, so we have to educate the people. So all natural water bodies are maybe contaminated with these parasites by day-to-day activities like fresh up, and educate individuals in area prone to infection too. So some prone area infections are sub-Saharan African countries. So drink water from underground sources free from contamination. So drinking water we have to must take from underground, especially bore wells. And do not enter drinking water sources with an ulcers, the which person suffering from ulcer, that person must avoid to enter into the water bodies, and use a filter for drinking water. So we have to use the filter for drinking water to remove the copy parts. And unsafe drinking water can be boiled or treated with some chemicals. Okay, so this is prevention is better than cure. Prevention is better than cure. So this is about the life cycle of Dracunculus medinensis. Dracunculus medinensis. So Dracunculus medinensis is a diagenetic parasite. The first host is human being, the second host is uh, cyclops. Cyclops. Okay, so this is life cycle. The matured fertilized female, which can form the blister on the feet. From the feet, the female is emerge out whenever we place the infected person place the its leg into water, especially water bodies. So from the female, the L1 larva one released into the water, and these larvae swimming in the water. This larva consumed by the copepod or especially cyclops. So the larva entering into the cyclops gut, again it entering into the cavity, coelomic cavity. In this cavity, two molds are takes place, and by these molds the L3 larva is produced. This L3 larva is ready to contaminate to human beings. So whenever the person consumed by the water which contaminated with clopipods, and copepods are contaminated with L3 larva. So whenever the water enter into the stomach, so by the acid activity of in stomach, the copepods are died. From the copepods, the larva was released. So that released larva entering into the peritoneal tissues of the stomach, or intestinal tissues of the wall of the stomach. So here the male female undergoes mature, and undergoes mature. After mature, female and males undergoes reproduction. The fertilized female, or the female has a fertilized egg, so it can migrate from where the stomach wall or intestine wall to, it migrates up to feet of the human leg. Okay, so gradually whenever it reaches to the feet, it can release some chemicals. By that chemicals reaction, and some blister is formed above the feet. Okay, so it is ready to release the L1 larva into water bodies. So this is a life cycle of what is um, Dracunculus medinensis. So here generally uh, the person suffering from blisters, skin blisters and ulcers create a burning sensation, and those infected often immense affected limbs in water. Okay, generally, so immense effect takes place in the human beings. The infected individual enters the water, female will release the larvae. The female is capable to release the larvae for several days whenever it contact with water. It can release the larvae one for several days. Life cycle. Once ingested larva travel to small intestine, and penetrate wall small intestine and pass into the body cavity in copepod. Over 10 to 14 months, the adult female grow full in size. So this is a parasite, and this is the life cycle. The adult female emerges from skin up to 90%, especially leg and feet. The person with protruding worm enters water, the female releases the larvae. Okay, this person whenever entering into the water, the female releases the larvae. This is the life cycle of Dracunculus medinensis. So it has nearly before 1530 the parasites presence the identified by the Bible. Identify the Bible. So through the transition, it is the transitional parasite between intestinal tract and filarial parasite of tissues, especially the parasite which lives in the lymph nodes. Okay, so the female size is very large, nearly the female size up to 60 centimeters, and the male size is up to 30 mm. 30 mm. The male is very small in size, female is large in size. The Dracunculus medinensis is the largest parasite. It is the largest parasite. Okay, shall we stop here?